You know how I learned to speak English fast? It's television.
Okay.
When movies came on to show on TV, I would be videotaping those movies, and I would be watching them over and over and over and over, like The Sound of Music.
Doe, a deer, a female deer.
The King and I.
The royal princes and princesses.
If you were to play that movie, I would probably be able to say a lot of the lines.
Do you remember the first time that you got to the US? Were you fluent in English before?
I could not speak English when I first got there. The table next to me, it's kind of like people kind of talking about me, you know. And then somebody at that table was asking the other person, why are you saying all this? Wouldn't he be mad or something? And I picked up one sentence. Oh, he wouldn't understand it.
Oh, God.
I understood that one.
Right.
To be sitting behind that desk 50 weeks a year waiting for that 2-week vacation. Oh my God. I want to do that. Is it going to be possible to have our own theater?
Is it going to be huge, like a huge project?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So people said to me, there was a question, how do you become a millionaire by doing theater? And I said, how? And he said, you have to start by being a billionaire.
And then you become a millionaire.
And then you become a millionaire.
Oh, God. จากข้อมูลหลังบ้านเราพบว่า 70% ของคนดูรายการคำนี้ดีฟีเจอริงไม่ได้กดเปิดซับไตเติลครับไม่แน่ใจเหมือนกันว่าเพราะว่าคุณไม่ได้ต้องการซับไตเติลหรือคุณไม่รู้ว่าเรามีซับไตเติลให้ด้วยนะครับจริงๆแล้วเรามีให้2ภาษาเลยทั้งไทยแล้วก็อังกฤษเปิดใช้บริการกันได้นะครับถ้าสมมุติเกิดดูอยู่บนมือถือให้กดปุ่ม CC ที่ขวาบนถ้าสมมุติเกิดดูอยู่ที่แล็ปท็อปนะครับให้กดเครื่องหมายไอคอนของคำบรรยายที่มุมขวาล่างกดได้เลยครับพี่บอยตะกลเกตวีรวรรณสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ยกมือไหว้เลยนะครับ Thank you so much for coming for joining us at KND today and it's our honor that you come and give us the honor of being here I'm so excited personally
well, thank you for having me and I'm excited too
yeah and it's very exciting for our audience as well, I think, because we all know that you speak English, but we rarely see you speak English like at all because you don't like speak English. You're not required to speak English like
right.
on camera or anywhere, right?
Right.
Yeah, but of course you do speak English.
Yes, but if I haven't been speaking for a while, then it would be kind of slow. But
a little rusty, but of course, yeah, it'll be like getting on the bike for you. Okay, so can you take us back to your days in the U.S. because you went to the U.S. for school, right? And
right.
you spent 12 years there.
Right.
So when was the first time that you went there?
I went to school in the U.S. in 1978, and for 12 years
right.
Until 1990. And I started. The first 6 years was in the Bay Area in California, which in San Francisco and nearby.
Okay. For high school,
from 7th grade.
From 7th grade.
Yeah.
And you did stay until you finished your master's.
Yeah.
Right.
I finished high school in
the Bay
San
Area.
Francisco, in the Bay Area, and then went East Coast for university. Went to Boston College and Boston University.
Can you compare the West and the East? Which one do you prefer, actually?
I actually like the East more.
Really?
Because it makes you appreciate everything more because there are 4 seasons out of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, in California, it's also 4 seasons, but in San Francisco, it's about the same, all year round.
All year round, right.
So you don't get the snow, it's you get the sun, but in the Bay Area it's a bit gloomy and stuff. Not gloomy, foggy and stuff.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like that all year round. But in the East Coast, you get the summer, you get the winter, you get the fall, you get the spring. I mean, and when you're in a place like that, you appreciate the weather. You appreciate the sun. You appreciate the snow. You appreciate the cold. You appreciate the flowers. You know, when things get to, oh my God, this is it's much too cold now. Then all of a sudden, the weather turns nice, and the flowers grow, and then and then you kind of appreciate it. And then when the sun comes, in the summer, okay, you don't have to wear a lot of stuff on you. And then when it gets too hot, then it's the fall, and then the leaves turn yellow and orange. You know, and so you learn to appreciate things more.
Right. I do get what you mean because I spent 3 years in Seattle and it was always raining. And it's just like that, like gloomy all day, like all year round. Yeah, I do get what you mean totally. And do you remember the first time that you got to the US? Were you like fluent in English before, or you kind of picked up your English when you get there?
I could not speak English when I first got there.
Right.
7th grade. I mean,
so very young, right?
Yeah.
Very young.
12 years old. And we learn English in school, in elementary school in Thailand, but it's not for to speak fluently. And when I got there, one time I was sitting all by myself at lunch, and then eating my sandwich, and the table next to me, it's kind of like people are kind of talking about me, you know, and stuff, and I know that it was nice. And then somebody in that on at that table was asking the other person, why are you saying all this? Wouldn't he be mad or something? And I picked up one sentence. Oh, he wouldn't understand it.
Oh God.
I understood that one.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I gotta speak. I gotta learn to speak English. You know, and you know how I learned to speak English fast? It's television.
Okay.
I was watching television every day. And, a lot of sitcoms, game shows. Family Feud actually was one of my most favorite shows, which later on I got to do the Thai version.
Yes.
And a lot of sitcoms.
What do you still remember?
Mork and Mindy.
TV. Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy.
Robin Williams, right?
Yeah. Family Ties.
All the classics.
A lot of the classics.
Okay.
The Odd Couple.
Okay. Right. So did you get to go to the movie, or did you get to go to the theaters?
Oh yeah, and movies. And then the theater, my father actually took me to see my first musical.
Which
was The Sound of Music.
Super classic.
Yeah, super classic in San Francisco. I was just amazed by everything. And after that, I just found out, oh my God, they sang it live? I didn't know that.
Right.
And all the music was live. My dad was saying, yeah, it was all live. And I'm
everything
like,
is live.
Oh my God, really? I just thought they were playing it on tape or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then at first it was the scenery that got me. The set, the scenery that they changed from the house into the mountains and stuff. And I was just amazed by it. And of course, the singing and everything. And I knew that the show was also made into a movie. And then later on, I was got the chance to watch the movie, that they played it on TV. And I would, during that time, videotape recorders, the VCRs, just started coming out, and I would be taping. When movies came on to show on TV. I would be videotaping those movies, and I would be watching them over and over and over and over, like The Sound of Music. If you were to play that movie, I would probably be able to say a lot of the lines.
You can recite the lines
Yes.
and sing along the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And the sound music, The King and I. The King and I was actually ended up watching that movie so many times. The first time I watched it, it was like similar to a lot of the Thais at that time. It's like, how dare you? Oh my God, this is not Thai. What the hell are you doing to my country, to my culture and stuff? This is not Thai. But being a 12-year-old Thai in America, and at that time, it was very expensive to even a phone call. Everything was like you have to write letters and stuff. No emails.
Right.
You know, and so you miss a lot of the Thainess, and all of a sudden, after a while, what I found out was I would be watching The King and I like every weekend, just to hear some of the fake Thais in the movie. Like there was extras like Thai guards at the door and he'd be saying "But too," and that actually kind of like okay, hey, they speak Thai and you know when you miss Thailand, you miss your country, you miss your home. You know, but
Did you go like good job for trying to say that, or you were like that's not how it's said?
At first it was like that.
Yeah.
It was like, how dare you? This is not Thai.
Yeah.
But after a while, it was kind of like, hey, it kind of helps me to think about Thailand. And before I knew it, I was like, oh God, I've been watching this movie so many times.
Even though I got offended by a lot of stuff in the movies,
but it became my favorite movie.
Wow. Okay. And how long did it take you to appreciate all this, especially the musical, to the point that you actually thought to yourself that maybe I want to do this for a career?
Well, after seeing all those like movie musicals, and then seeing the first musical, Sound Music, and then my father actually took me to see a lot more, and so I became addicted, and almost every show that came to San Francisco, I would be there in the audience,
Right.
and I was able to see a lot of the classics, revivals like Rex Harrison, My Fair Lady, Peter Pan, Sweeney Todd, and I was just like, wow, this is fun. This is amazing. But there was a show that actually kind of changed my life. Actually, there were two shows that actually changed my life. One of which it's called A Chorus Line.
The chorus line?
A chorus line is about a group of dancers, a group of people auditioning for a musical, to be in the ensemble of a musical. And during the auditions, the director, the director in the show would be asking about their life story, and they would be telling their life story, and it becomes like, it's the love for what it's like what you do for love. You love doing this. You love to dance. You love to sing. For some people, it was like, oh, I studied ballet since I was little. Some people were saying that, hey, it's the only thing I know how to do. This is a job. I just got married, and so I need the money, and everything. And it's like, oh my God, they all have the same dream, but only a certain number of people were to be selected. So you got to do your best, and that's life, And there was actually one line that in the show that really got me toward the end. One of the dancers actually broke his leg. And so he wouldn't be able to be in the show. And everybody was like, all this could happen. This could happen to me, And the director asked, if today were the day you had to stop dancing, how would you feel? And they sang the song called What I Did for Love. It's called Kiss Today Goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you, but I won't forget what I did for love. And we did what we had to do, won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. And when I got out of that theater, I was like high for like half an hour. I was like, where am I? What was that? You know, it was like, oh, really? What just got into me? What just hit me? I was sitting in the bus going back home, and I thought to myself, will I be able to sing this song and mean every word of it in the future? Will I be able to do what I love in the future? And, you know, what do I love? You know, and is it the theater? Is it the performance? Is it the performing arts? What is it? You know.
Were you still in school at the time, or you have already gotten into the university?
I was 14. I was in high school.
Okay.
I was actually.
So what was the career choice for you at the time in your head?
I had no idea.
Okay.
You know, when I was little, you know, when I saw my father going to work, and I would visit him in his office, he would be sitting behind a desk. He would be signing a lot of the, you know,
papers
and stuff, and he would be in a meeting room, and oh, that's work.
Okay. And did you want to be like him?
And that's work. And I'm like, oh, when I grow up, I would probably, if I were to be working, that would be the work.
So that's the picture of working for you at the time.
And then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. When I went to see all these shows, oh, wait, these guys are working too.
Yeah, right.
You know, they travel, they work, they go to places.
Looks a lot more fun, right?
It looks a lot more fun. Yeah. And then after that, there was another play. Chorus Line was like when I was 14. And then when I was like 17 or 18, there was another play, another classic, Death of a Salesman. There was one line that one of the sons was saying to his brother, and it says, to be sitting behind that desk 50 weeks a year waiting for that 2-week vacation. And I'm like, holy, oh my God, I want to do that.
Right.
You know, you waste your life 50 weeks a year doing something that you're not enjoying, waiting for that 2 weeks to enjoy your life. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And
we all see that that's exactly what you're not doing with your life, because we were talking before and I was asking him when was the last time that he directed the show. I mean, besides sitting behind a desk signing stuff, right? And he said, it's just last year. And this year I'm doing another 2. So obviously you're not like putting yourself behind the desk.
Right.
And doing just that, you are very hands-on with everything that you want to create.
Well, I have to pick and choose, and I have to balance.
Right.
In some of the projects, I would have to, okay, other people would be doing it, and I would be just looking at the big picture.
Right.
And in some projects, okay, I would be looking at the details. I have to balance.
Yeah, but you're always the mastermind behind everything great, and you're the architect of the whole thing.
Yes and no. No, because we have our team is really strong, and I have a lot of great people doing stuff with me, and a lot of the ideas actually come from them. And then some of them I would be kind of like just trimming, and some of them I would just like go ahead, you know, because I mean, people are saying that if you're going to have a tiger working for you, you would have to give them the whole space.
Right.
If not, the tiger would become just a cat.
Wow, that's a great way of painting the picture.
Yeah.
It is very important to give authority and give freedom to talented people
Yes.
who are working for you. But one thing we cannot deny that you actually are is a visionary because you are the first person to bring musical culture to Thailand. Because I remember thinking to myself when I first went to my first musical in the US, and I was thinking like, this will never happen in Thailand for some reason, because I do not have like the trust of, Thai people appreciate this kind of thing. I had like no picture at all, but you made it come true. You made everybody's who appreciate theaters dreams who live in Thailand come true by creating Ratchadalai. And that was 18 years ago, right?
Yes.
Wow. A blink of an eye, like 18 years just went by, right? Yeah. Looking back to the first moment that you decided to start all this, what were you thinking?
Well, after going to school in the US, I came back to Thailand in 1990, and I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. And I always knew I loved theater, but to make theater as an occupation, that would be so tough, in 1990. But the next best thing would probably be television. So I started in television, and then I always said to myself that, okay, after a few years of getting to know people, getting to know a lot of people, getting to know a lot of the background people, a lot of the actors and actresses, and getting my probably credits for the audience, I would really want to do a Thai musical.
When you first thought of that, was it an original Thai musical or the Thai version of the world-class musical?
Original.
Wow, okay.
One of the shows that really inspired me to do a Thai musical was Les Miserables. Les Miserables is, the world famous musical. It's based on a French novel. And when it first started, everybody's like, a French musical? What? Even the executive producer said it's a contradiction in terms. And then they adapted into English, but because it was kind of unheard of to do a French musical. But what they did was they made the musical out of a famous novel that every French knew. It's Les Miserables. And they turned that into a musical. And I was thinking to myself that if I were to do a Thai musical, I would probably need to get a Thai story that everybody knows, to turn into musicals. And actually, one of the stories that I thought was Menak. At that time.
We all know that.
Yeah.
We saw that too many times on
many
TV.
years later, I was able to do that. Not the first one.
Right.
But yeah.
You just kept it in the back of your head
Yeah.
that one day I will do this.
There was actually another one, but which I haven't done, but I'm
Okay.
not telling you which one it is.
Okay. You'll just have to wait and see if that's going to happen too. Okay. So obviously you still have a lot of projects in your head that you still want to achieve and want to create.
Yeah, and so after so we tried to do the original Thai musicals after a few productions at the Thailand Cultural Center, which was always overbooked. I said to myself that, hey, we need a home. We gathered a lot of great people, a lot of talented people working with us, and we need a home. And so we decided to, hey, is it going to be possible to have our own theater?
Is it going to be huge, like a huge project?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of investment. Will it work?
Yeah. How
Who
did you
knew?
even start to make that come true?
Well, kind of. We have to study. We have to study, and we have to be careful. It's not like okay, we're gonna put in so much money for all this and stuff, and so it's got to be when we put in the investment. What's the heart of it, and what's all the luxury around it? We would focus on the heart of it. A lot of the little things that is like, oh, you don't need, we're not going to put in because it just wouldn't make sense. And it was funny that when we were about 80% sure that okay, we're going to do this, I went to the U.S. with a few people in my team, and we went to a Chinese restaurant. And after having a meal at the Chinese restaurant, there would be fortune cookies, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, in my fortune cookie,
Ooh, what does it say?
it said, "You create your own stage. The audience is waiting."
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like the message.
And I'm like,
The message.
holy moly.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, just imagine that's, I can't start to imagine how that might feel like for
Like,
you. You must be like
What is
shaking.
this? I was shaking. I was like,
Oh, God.
I have it framed.
Right.
Actually, I have that fortune cookie
okay,
framed.
so yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a sign. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and how long did it take you from the point that you decided to make this a real thing until you actually, from to the first day of the real opening, the grand opening of Ratchadalai?
Well, after that, it was probably like about a year or a year and a half.
Oh, only a year and a half?
Yeah.
That was-
To build, because it was
Right.
kind of like,
Okay.
we're about 80% sure and stuff.
Okay. All right. Okay. And then you got your home for you
Yeah.
and your people.
Yeah.
As opposed to a rented stage
Right.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And it has been your home for 18 years.
Yeah.
And I must say you kind of give options to people for their Friday night or whatever, because besides going to a movie or going to just for a meal, now they can go to see a musical.
Right.
Yeah. And wow. And that we have to thank you for
you.
changing our, the way we spend our night. And actually, it kind of changed the landscape of the entertainment thing in our country too, because we can appreciate another kind of like cultural event that we didn't get to appreciate before. Right. And yeah, for that, I think we all owe you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
we are the audience that, who are open up, because, I mean, you need the audience for the
Right.
theater to make to make theater work. You need the audience.
Right.
It's kind of like probably the most important element when you do a performance.
Yes. And you've mentioned creating an original story of that all Thai people know about and turn that into a musical. And you've actually done that for several times, and Menag being one of them. But recently, you have just made another one, which is 2499 อันธพาลครองเมือง That is the name of a movie, right?
Right.
And now it was brought to the stage.
Right. We turned it into a musical. It's an inspiration and to do the musical out of that. But we change a lot of the storylines, a lot of the plot. It's changed to make it, to musicalize it, and so we changed the title to อันธพาล2499 the musical.
So the story is not going to be like exactly like what we saw in the movie.
Right. It's very, very different.
Okay.
And it deals with friendship. It deals with love. It deals with family. It deals with what you do have an effect on the people behind you. and it's a love story, love of friendship, love of a guy and a girl, love of mother and son, and it's also a love triangle between Dang and Po and Walapa in this version.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
And the breakup of friendship and everything. It's quite emotional. I mean, when you do a musical, a lot of people ask me, how do you pick the stories? And I would say that what Harold Prince used to say, Harold Prince was the director of the Phantom of the Opera. What Harold Prince used to say was, does it sing? Does that story sing? And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
And what does that mean?
What does that mean? It's if you can just speak it, don't sing it.
Okay.
So
okay.
the stories would have to have a lot of emotions. The characters would have to have a lot of emotions that speaking is not enough. They need to sing it out.
I see.
So and I think for อันธพาล2499 that's what happens. I mean the characters of Dang Baile and Po Robert Kwon and a lot of people that they have so much within them that they need to just explode into a song. When we announced that we were going to do อันธพาล2499 the musical, some people said, that's a great movie, and would be willing to see how you're going to make that into a musical. But for other groups, oh gosh, why would I be going to see people, ตีกัน attacking each other or fighting with each other?
Right.
I'm not going to go see it. But wait a minute. It's a musical, and it's got to be, if we were to do a musical, it would have to be filled with emotions, filled with heart, filled with love, but taking those characters and not listening to anything else. They would judge.
Right.
But not knowing that, how are you going to make all the fighting scenes? We're not going to have real fights on stage. My God, people will hurt each other.
Have you seen West Side Story?
But it's not even West Side Story.
Right.
It becomes very stylized and becomes a lot of choreography, a lot of movement with the lighting and sound effects. It's amazing. It's like a dance movement that is like amazing on stage, and just to see that fighting scene that people are afraid to go see it. They're like, I don't want to go see it. Yeah. It's actually a very climatic piece of theater, and it's very innovative, I think. So, well, I can't really say that because it's, I shouldn't say that because it's my work. But yeah, it's things that, it's a lot of things that it's very unexpected.
And that ability to be able to tell which story needs to sing, is it something that you can develop, or is it have to be like your instinct or something that you were born with in your case?
Well, we have to explore. I think we have to explore. One of the stories which I didn't think was going to be able to sing was actually ข้างหลังภาพ.
Okay.
I didn't think it was going to be able to sing.
Right.
And then some of my team members who would be writing a lot of the script for me, she said, really look at this story. I think we can do it into a musical. And I said, okay, let's explore. And all of a sudden, oh wow, we saw something, and I think ข้างหลังภาพsays a lot. It's more than just a love story.
Right.
Okay, it's intimate. It's at first I actually thought it was going to be like some chamber piece, small. But then you need that waterfall.
Right. Right.
So it turned big.
Yeah. And you mentioned Waterfall. That's the English version
That's the English version
of ข้างหลังภาพ Yeah.
Waterfall started when in about 2010, 2011, I had the opportunity to invest and became a co-producer for Broadway shows. I started with the show called Promises, and then later on How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, starring Daniel Radcliffe.
I love that story. Yeah.
And so I was able to meet a lot of the Broadway people, and then one of whom was Richard Maltby. Richard Maltby was the English lyricist for Miss Saigon, and I had always been a fan of his work for so long that, oh my God, this guy is genius. And little did I know that I was going to be working with him, you know. Yeah. I said, I have a lot of Thai musicals. Would we be able to adapt it into English? And then we videotaped everything, you know, we all the shows. And I gave him a few shows to watch. And then he watched Behind the Painting and he said, why don't we do this one?
Wow.
You know, it's kind of universal and stuff, but we changed a lot, you know, to be able to get the Western audiences in. We changed the main character into an American, and so it actually became a different story, but the love story and the background, the love story is still there, and then we enhanced the background, a lot of the society stuff, how people see the world and the differences between the East and the West, and how the American influence came into the East during the 1930s, which actually was the start of World War II. And you know, because in the story, ข้างหลังภาพ a lot of the parts happened in Japan,
Right.
You know, and stuff.
So you see the potential for...
We saw the potential, and we actually did it's called a tryout in Seattle.
Okay.
In Seattle and in Pasadena in 2015. Didn't go well.
Okay.
It didn't go well.
Why didn't?
A lot of the problems with the book and with the storyline, that it wasn't really congruent, you know, and being actually the first time I ever worked in the U.S., even though I went to school there, but it was working environment. It was very different, and so I was actually not afraid to be on top of things.
Okay.
I was, you know, being a Thai on Broadway with a lot of Broadway people, Americans, you know, you feel very little. You felt very little. Although I had to be on top of things, but I was not on top of things. I was scared to be on top of things.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I would, all right. You know, what do you think? And blah, blah, blah. And then, because I was scared.
Okay.
And it failed. And a few years, it took me a few years to kind of get back to my own self, and said, wait a minute, why do I have to be scared of these people? I mean, a lot of times that when I speak to them, some people that I think would know things, they don't. You know, and a lot of people said, I know this, I know that, and I know this, I know that. But they don't. You know, but everybody's willing to explore. And everybody has to have their own say of things, even though it may be wrong. You know, but that's how it is. Right. And so I said, wait, no, if I were to do this again, I would not be scared, and I would be firm of what I believe in what I do. And after that, working with Richard Maltby, he's great. He's just wonderful. And he would listen to me, I would listen to him, and then we would fix things. And then, like 2018, we had a new script, which we really liked. And for Broadway show, you need like readings. It's called like play reading, and you get a lot of the Broadway actors to do like a workshop for you, to come to read the script and stuff. And we were able to get Sarah Bacchus, who was one of the, one of the Christines in Phantom of the Opera, to play Catherine actually at the reading. Yeah, and then we would develop on that. And I was different. I was different. I was on top of things. I listen. I listen to them. I hear what they say, and then I would make the decision.
Oh.
Yeah, why should I be afraid? I mean, it's people. Yeah. And after all, what I've been doing here is,
Yeah.
and then we got really good, much better script, and I think we were ready. And then COVID came.
Right.
And so a few years after that, everything was so different. And I said to myself, okay, what if we were to do a good, solid production of this, we would need to make it big. And because the Waterfall is quite an important part. And so the place that I think we should do it would be at Ratchadalai. And so in 2023, we brought in all the creatives from Broadway. Richard Maltby, the composer David Shire, the choreographers, the music directors and stuff brought in, and the leads from America to come to be in Waterfall, to work with the Thai ensemble and the Thai creative team, because the production designer is also Thai, has always been Thai, who's been Mr. Ja Sasawat, who's been working with me for 30 years. He was the one who created the Waterfall, and we had a blast. We had a blast. We learned so much from each other. The Broadway people, the Americans, were so, they loved us. They loved the Thainess that we have. They really appreciate. Of course, in the beginning it was like, oh wait, and stuff. But I mean, some of the people actually said that, oh my God, you have so much here that New York hasn't had for a long time, which we need in the theater. Yeah, it's the compassion, it a lot of things.
Right.
Oh wow, they loved us.
We know that this cannot be easy, but I had no idea that is this complicated and painstaking, long process of developing a stage play or a musical like this. Yeah, and you guys even failed in order to get out again and make it work. And I think that's a great opportunity and great learning experience for us Thai people too, like working with people from New York, from everywhere. And I think this is great, because if we have done it once, maybe we can make it more in the future, right? Yeah, and it's gonna keep being a great learning experience, because we can never stop learning from things like this. Yeah, wow, that is great. It turned out to be a big success too.
Not really. It was a success for us to learn things, and I think we had a really, really, really good show. But for the Thai audience, they didn't know to expect because it was in English.
Right.
And so people who loved it, but people who didn't understand it, didn't understand it. But people a lot of people who actually went to see it just really loved it. But for the people who were still hesitating to see what is this? We don't know all these actors, and why would I go to see this?
So maybe
they
the biggest thing
didn't-
would still be the language barrier.
language barrier and they
Cultural,
they didn't really know what to expect.
Okay.
And I don't know what the future is gonna hold for this one. Maybe I had to stop because
Okay.
it's been just too long. But that's theater. You explore, you learn, and then you create new ones.
Since it's in English, would this work on Broadway?
With what is happening on Broadway right now, it would be really, really, really tough.
Okay.
I mean, my God, it's Broadway right now is just
Yeah, tell
I
us
don't
what's
know.
happening on Broadway right now.
expensive.
Okay.
No, it when I first started in 2010 to for Broadway shows that I said how to succeed and it costs about 14 million
Wow.
to put
To
on
make a show?
to make a big musical like that. Now
And you mean and keep it running?
yeah,
Or just like
the
initially
capitalization,
production.
the capitalization and then
Okay.
and the with the running costs and everything. But if the revenue does not exceed the running cost, then you'd have to stop. But now, 14 million. Now it's about 25.
Wow.
So when the cost is higher, the ticket prices also became higher. So the people have to choose, what they want to see. And usually they would want to choose something that they know, something that they can relate to. Like right now, Death Becomes Her, it's from a movie. And then there's, we know that.
We know that, we love that.
So we,
And we would love to see the musical version of it.
something like that, yeah.
So you don't have to like create something totally new for
Right.
people and try to convince them to come to the theater.
Right.
Okay.
But then again, one of the shows that is becoming one of the top box office today is called Maybe Happy Ending. What is that?
Like original story?
That's an original story. And it's actually from Korea.
Really?
Yeah. And it becomes a big hit
Wow.
in New York.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it, and I'm also one of the co-producers.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, people that I know that, hey, you want to get on board on this? And I said, at first I was, I had a lot of thinking, and then, oh yeah, let's do it.
What made you say yes?
Well, I went to see the rehearsal, and it's kind of heartfelt, and it's kind of like, okay, it's an original story, as opposed to from a movie or something which not a lot of them worked, from movies and stuff. And so I decided, okay, let's do it. And it's actually nominated for a Tony Award, for 10 Tony Awards.
Wow.
This season.
Wow.
One of which was Best Musicals. One of the nominations was for Best Musical.
What is it called again? Maybe
Happy Ending.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the Tony Awards on June 8th
Whoa.
to root for.
This is big. This is big. Wow. A lot of happening in your life right now. Okay. Like domestically, internationally. Wow. Must be a very fun life for you.
Yeah.
Really. Okay.
A lot of projects.
Yeah. So if I asked you to give a score to the word Broadway right now, what kind of score would you give it?
9.
On 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Okay. For what reason?
it's one of my most favorite places on earth.
Okay. Even though it's a little bit tougher right now,
but
right?
the not 10 is because the landscape of it is just so tough and it changes a lot. But it's fun. But it's fun. It's a big risk. But if you're just an audience, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of inspirations. You stuff. But yeah, the landscape of it is quite tough. And sometimes you're like, why is this show running? Oh my God. How come this is closing? And,
Right.
And you never know. And so it's a lot of
Mixed bag.
a lot of factors, but it's fun. And it's funny because some people said to me, there was a question, how do you become a millionaire by doing theater? And I said, how? And he said, you have to start by being a billionaire.
And then you become a millionaire.
And then you become a millionaire.
Oh, God. That is bittersweet and a little bit sour to hear that.
Yep.
Like, okay. Yeah. All right. So we've been talking a lot about stage play and musical, but another thing that you do and still do nowadays is TV, right? Yeah. And again, you are someone who has changed the landscape of Thai lakon as well, because I still remember lakon exact back in the day. It is so huge and it's so different from lakon from the basic TV that we were used to. But lakon exact is like something totally different.
Right.
And you were a big part of that. You were it actually. And then now lakon Chong Wan. Can you walk us through how you your journey, like from the first day that you created Exact and Lakon and then up until this point?
Yeah, when we first created Exact and the Exact dramas, we wanted to do something different because that's what we liked. It's the style that we liked. It's the we didn't think it was new or whatever, but it's what we liked. And we didn't know how it was going to be received because during that time, the Thai dramas was not like this. At that time, a lot of the Hong Kong series, I really liked, and
Like back in the age
back
of like
in
TVB and stuff?
back in the 90s and
okay.
stuff. How would we create something like that? And the picture quality, the lighting and stuff, was different than a lot of the Thai dramas at that time. The acting style, and stuff. And the first 2 episodes was like, what the hell was that? Ratings was like,
Really? Which one were we talking about here?
รักในรอยแค้น
What? That's a big one. That's
Yeah, but the first part of it was
the
like,
very beginning, right?
The very beginning was like, everyone was like, what the hell is that? And from what I was hearing.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden, it got picked up, and a lot of the younger people at that time, there was like, oh, this is something new. This is something new. This is something new. But I didn't know that until like toward the end, and toward the end it was like a big hit, and oh wow, and then we did likeยามลมพัดหวน and stuff.
Right.
It was a talk of the town. But you know what happened with the ratings?
It's not that
Good.
great. Really?
But it was a big talk of the town. So it's
Yeah.
like, all
Even
right,
I watched it. I did not normally watch like Thai lakon, but I did watch all of that
yeah,
you just mentioned.
It became big hits for the younger generations and the people who usually wouldn't watch Thai dramas. And so we were like, okay, this is our ways of doing this. But then after about 10 years or so, when the the sales people would be saying that what you need to pick up the ratings, otherwise, the sponsors wouldn't come in. And so, okay, so we had to kind of change our ways a bit to get more ratings and stuff. And so things maybe would become more obvious as opposed to more, subtle. And we got all that. So we kind of changed things.
Well, what did
but
you
then
change
again,
exactly?
a lot more obvious stuff than the acting style and everything. More melodramatic than Ragni Roy Can, more than Yam Lom Patuan.
For the sake of ratings.
For the sake of ratings, of course, because we had to.
Yeah.
We had to eat.
Right.
And but we would always kind of balance. Sometimes we balance well, sometimes we don't balance well. But with the landscape of television nowadays, with all the disruption, it's changed a lot. And it's kind of good for us that, hey, people concentrate on what they watch more than before. If they were to watch, before they would just turn on the TV,
have it in the background,
have it in the background and stuff. So if the characters don't become very obvious, they wouldn't know what the characters are doing.
Right.
So if they're angry, they'd have to go,
Yeah.
And so you
very extra and over the top in order to get the attention.
To get the attention. But nowadays, the audience is different. If they come in to watch, if the drama becomes their destination, they would concentrate.
Because they're watching like this.
Because they're watching like this. Even though it's maybe smaller, but they're watching like this. Or if they turn on the TV, then they would be actually concentrating. So we were able to kind of like, hey, we don't need so much of that rating stuff that much, because nowadays it's about the talk.
Right.
It's about what people are saying about things and stuff. And so we kind of change our ways, become more realistic, because that's what the people are enjoying, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So the what we did with our exact dramas, how do we go back and pick that up, but to do it for the 2025 audience? And that's what became of Songkram Somrot last year, Meyua last year, Ticha last year. And so, hey, we were able to find something that is, I think, exciting for us to maybe change the landscape again.
I've got two words here, and according to like ตำรานิเทศศาสตร์ or ตำราการทำสื่อ these two words are very important for TV, like prime time and attention war. So you need to grab people's attention and try to win attention. And the prime time plays a big role. I'm not sure if we can say used to play a big role, but do you still believe in prime time for TV right now?
Yes, you still have to focus and be concerned about prime time, but prime time for different group of people is different. Prime time for nationwide is like 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. But for the Bangkok audience, no way, they're not at home.
Yeah.
They're stuck in traffic.
Right.
They
stay much later than that.
Much later than that. It'll be like 8 o'clock in the evening, 8:30, 9. But nowadays, with the social media and streaming platforms, and you can watch the shows later on, everybody has their personal prime time. So, how do you grab attention for the audience to come to watch your show, but in their own leisure time. How do you grab attention of that? So it's not just like grabbing attention for people to watch at that time when it plays on air, but how to grab attention for them to come to watch whenever they want.
Because the technology allows that now, right?
Right.
They don't need to be like 8 p.m. in front of the TV anymore.
Yeah, but if you can grab attention and they really love, and then they don't want to miss out on the first time that it shows,
the first airing.
then they would come to the broadcast.
What would you like to be your legacy? Because I think you've been in the business for so long. We will never say too long because we want you to stay as long as you want because you keep creating things that we enjoy. But of course, you at one point you have to like, I don't want to say like retire, but at one point, I think you may be thinking of what you want to leave behind as your legacy for the Thai entertainment industry.
I think it's I don't know. It's a lot of things, I guess. I do a lot of projects. I think it's the work is a result of how I do it, why I do it, and I hope people would be thinking about the journey of it all. The series that keeps changing from Ragnarok Can in the 90s until now with and then landscape changing again. People don't watch television as much as they used to, but it doesn't mean that they're not watching entertainment. They're not watching the dramas and the lakon, but meaning that we would have to find other platforms for them to watch because people still watch the content. So we're creating an application called 1D, which we're developing, having progress as the years went by, and we're still developing and developing the content that would suit today's audience. In 5 years' time, 10 years' time, for tomorrow's audience. You gotta be with them. Otherwise, you'd have to stop.
Right.
One day, probably, of course, I would probably retire one day. Don't know when yet, because in all the parts of my years, I've been able to do a lot of things that I love, and I'm not regretting. If I were to stop right now, probably I can, but if there are opportunities, then I wouldn't. But if I goes back to a chorus line, if today were the day you had to stop dancing, how would you feel? I would feel that I'm not regretting anything. Wow. And it's fulfilling. It's been fulfilling. My life has been very fulfilling. But if I can continue, I'll continue. But if one day I can't, okay, fine.
Right. So
because I've done a lot.
Right.
And we in the song, one of the lyrics is, "We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love."
So fill in the blank for me with one word. 5 years, 10 years down the line, kids those days will look back and talk about you. Look at boi-ถกลเก He's such a great example of someone who is ... What would you like that word to be?
Who can achieve what he dreams of.
Achieving the dream, huh?
Yeah.
And that you have, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In so many ways.
In so many ways.
Because as I was telling you in the beginning, after seeing a chorus line and having listened to that song, What I Did for Love, would I be able to sing that song and mean every word of it, you know, in the future. And yeah, if today were the day I had to stop everything, how would I feel? I would say, yeah, I've done a lot of what I've done for love, and I'm not regretting. We did what we had to do.
We wish you the best, and we can't wait to see the next thing that you want to create for us. So thank you so much for coming and talking to us today at Comedy. But before we say goodbye, our show is called Comedy, right? So I want to know if you have any favorite words at all in Thai, in English. Comedy ของพี่บอยตะกลเกียรติคือคำว่าอะไรครับ
This word always gets to me whenever I talk about dream.
Dream.
Yeah, but it's you need to have dreams. You need to have a dream to do something, but it's not about making your dreams come true. It's about making your reality to achieve your dreams. I mean, if you're saying you have to make your dreams come true, it's a dream. A dream, you can't make a dream. You can't really make it because everything has to do with reality. So you have to accept reality and make your reality toward your dream. Maybe you're going to be achieving even more than you wished for. Maybe not, but maybe more. You never know. That's the reality of it.
Right.
So you need to make your reality toward your dream and to achieve your dreams.
Yeah. Thank you so much,พี่บอย and good luck at the Tony.
Maybe
you'll be on stage accepting the award too.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so thank you so much. ขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
ครับ